Okay, so classic in mathematical calculations, for any purpose, is the requirement or the benefit of using Greek variables or Greek letters to represent variables. And so Mathcad obviously is capable of doing that, and I want to show you a couple different ways that you can use to get there. So we've seen this sheet before. We're going to calculate the stress in the rod, and so far we've got the internal force between A and B, but we want to go on to calculate the stress. And so to get the stress, the first step I need to do is to get the area. So I'm going to go A for area, define it using my colon, and that's equal to pi times r squared, or pi r squared. And so there's a couple different ways to do this. And the first one, if we go up to the Math tab and we go over to constants, we can do that, or we can use symbols, and that gives us our Greek symbols, right? So in this case, pi is a constant, so we may as well put it in as a constant, and we choose pi there, and you see it shows up as green because it recognizes it as a constant where it knows the value for it. We don't have to define it. And then I can multiply that by r, go shift 6, or the caret sign, and go squared, and then we can hit equals, and I'm just going to change that to millimeters squared. And so pi is a Greek letter, but in this case it's also a constant, so we see that there. But using that Math tab, we can either do constants or Greek symbols. Now there's a faster way to do that, and so now that we have the area, we're pretty much ready to calculate the stress. And so normal stress is typically represented by a sigma, Greek letter sigma, and so I also know that that's a small letter s in the Latinic. So the easiest thing for me to do is I'll type in s, but then right away I'll go Control G, and it will convert that to the equivalent Greek letter. And so this is one of those keyboard shortcuts that I use all the time, so well worth learning it. And so now I'm going to define that using my colon, and we're going to use our f subscript AB divided by A, and I can set it to equals, and we get an answer back in pascals, but it'll be more useful if we make that megapascals. And so we have negative 15.279 megapascals. And I've already mentioned that I'm a fan of annotation, so I'm going to go Control T to put in a text box, and I'm going to note that this, because it's a negative sign under our sign convention, represents that it's in compression. And certainly I would expect somebody to identify that if they were doing an assignment for me. So just an idea. And so there you go, a couple different ways to get in constants and Greek letters. This is one of those cases where I strongly recommend you take the time to learn the shortcut, which is just Control G after you put in the Latinic equivalent.